Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Sir Stephen Topham at the third, at your service. Now, we're going to talk about this subject because it's called the Pegasus. Now, a lot of you know what the Pegasus is. Normally a form of horse, a starship, etc. We all know Star Trek's season, the Next Generation's episode, the Pegasus, on one of those episodes anyway. A lot of you may wonder why I'm mentioning about the NCC 1701D, obviously going to this mission, obviously going down the line. Then it came to my conclusion on this because a lot of people thought that what's unfolding now is a little bit more aware of what's going on at the North Norfolk Railway as well. So we're coordinating with it. So we're going to make it aware, self-aware, self-system to make it combined as one because it's going through everything we're understanding. Well, when a lot of people know where I'm going to come from, you've got people that abuse the system at the North Norfolk Railway, and you've got people that abuse that particular in that episode, people that want to fight back and be protective and really well responsible, diplomatic, everything else, all in one bucket, and it's all in one position, right? Now, the reason why I'm telling you about the Pegasus is because of one thing. There's a lot of facts in there, there's a lot of truth to this. But a lot of people said, read between the lines. Read between the lines. It's something that I keep telling you guys, and you it feels like you lot are all trapped in this little bubble at the North Norfolk Railway. Can't get out. If you get out, then you could lose your job, or you could, if you stay in, you could get bollocked. Excuse my French, but it's the way it's unfolding in you, right? Let me give you an example. You see, the reason I'm mentioning about the Pegasus is because when William T. Wrecker, as you like to call him correctly, was on the Enterprise 12 years later from this incident. Now, a lot of you know what this storyline is all about. I won't BS with it. I'm going straight to the point, right? The reason why I say why William T. Wrecker evolved 12 years later. Well, if you think about it, 12, reverse it, you get 21, right? Correct. But you got to establish why is William. Right, we can also go back to previous episodes where we can understand this a little bit thoroughly. Right, William T. Wrecker, who's the commander, the number one for Picard, obviously. Picard was in charge, but you have to be realistic. Why is Wrecker got William T? Well, the T stands for Thomas. Now, why is William, Thomas, and Wrecker got involved as three-syllable words, right? You've got to be realistic on this, so beware what you get established here. In your head, why is William and Thomas very important? You've got beginning, the middle, and the end, right? Wrecker is the end, but he isn't. Think about it. Take Wrecker away because it's not a surname we use in real life, right? That's the fictional side, but it's also fact in reality. So somewhere down the line, there could be a real wrecker involved. It could be my distant cousin, distant relation, or distant grandson, great grandson when we are developing the warp drive. But this is a little bit this is way into the future, right? Now, why William T. Wrecker involved? You got Thomas, obviously. You know William Lynn, so that's Lynn covered. Thomas would normally come under my great uncle, normally, right? But it's also passed down to me because I'm both in one swing, right? But I want to focus on the Pegasus, the episode itself. Now, the reason I'm doing this is to get people to understand why all the decisions that I make have to be diplomatic. Also, on top of that, is real life what you see unfolding in front of your eyes. But you also have to establish why. Why is I mentioned in my last podcast, I think it was a few podcasts ago, where I told you I was part of Murder She Wrote, The Bill, Thomas the Tank, and Star Trek of every series, not just one, all of it. That's including Legacy, which is coming out, right? So if you work it all out, every person is involved in this. This is not a joke, right? Pegasus, right? An admiral came on board, which is a higher rank to captain, obviously, as you know. But in my case, I'm the boss, right? Nobody can't take that away from you, no matter how much strength, weaknesses, or whatever you know. Read between the lines to understand everything. Right? Every book on a shelf in W.H. Smith, any book has real life facts in it. Right? The Railway Children, Thomas the Tank, Tolkien from The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and all of that. That's realistic. That's based on people's experiences. Right? Murder She Wrote, same scenario. Thomas the Tank is continuing regardless. Why? Because there's 5 generations of the Hatt family. So you've got my son and my granddaughter. So work it out. That's my family dealt and dusted. But then you've got to work out who my wife is. But the Pegasus is where I am getting to the point, right? Say, for instance, that we all work together to solve a mystery, right? We have to do it, right? Like 12 years ago, before the Pegasus even got trapped in the asteroid, it was cloaked by law or standard protocol by 60 years, right? Right? Picard told Wrecker, right? William T. Wrecker, right? We all look up to on this case. Jonathan Frakes does a good Wrecker impression. Wrecker Wallman and everything else, and Picard does Patrick Stewart, vice versa. They all have that personality, right? You now have to realize the predicament we are in, right? So then when Wrecker was on the Pegasus 12 years before on the Enterprise D, before Lieutenant Forge or Captain Forge managed to fix her up and managed to say, this is all analog, right? We don't use analog today, right? It's all digital, right? A lot of digital stuff can get fucked up, excuse my language, but it does. Then you've got the Norfolk Railway so screwed up they don't know where they're coming or going, right? It's all linked, right? The Norfolk Railway will be in this predicament for a very long time. Why? Because they can't solve their own problem. Right? They're going to end up so screwed. Even my mother said this morning. She said they're going to end up falling the way it was planned out. The management should never given you strict orders to tell me not to go on that platform. Right? That's rule one, broken one. So what happened? You broke something that you shouldn't, right? You all think it's a laughing matter. Read between the lines. It only takes one snap, don't it, for the Pegasus, right? This is a similar moment, right? With William T. Wrecker being ensign on the Pegasus, right? He's withheld information, protect certain information, safeguard people, right? In certain directions, right? We all knew that when you under rank, if you call it, right? There's a lot of hard questions to be answered, right? That's what Picard told Wrecker at the end of the episode, right? But we are trying to get you the deeper detail why. But he wasn't just William T, because if you reverse it, he is Thomas Wrecker, right? So we got to understand he's commander instead of the double the double um the double the second chance episode. So you're gonna have to remove it. So we tell him that he went up, he got to the Tempton on time, but now he's got the Pegasus, right? He's on the Pegasus with his captain, and his captain ordered to stand. He stood by his captain at the time because that was ordered. He was below rank. He couldn't go against the captain. Even on the Enterprise, he couldn't do it. Why? Even if he was one rank below. Right? So you need to realise, okay, we have that same little problem on the North Norfolk Railway. Right? Same fucking problem, but a different way. Why? You see, now it's 12 years later, because Wrecker's on the Enterprise hiding that secret. So what happened when he realised that it was wrong to keep hold information from his captain? It landed him not in shit, but he opened up the doorway and say, right, if you, right, the Admiral reported to him, if you mention this to your Captain Picard, you will lose whatever you got. That was a load of bullshit from his mouth, right? That's straight from the horse's mouth. It may be strict orders, but that was a load of bullshit. So what did Wrecker do? That was done. He done the right move because it was a really useful move. Think about it. We all think about Star Trek in a lot of ways, but this one is dead on the money on the job. The reason why I stated to you, and I'm stating it to everybody else who has watched the episode, the Pegasus episode, is he done the right move at the right time when it was really useful. Why? No, right. If he didn't, he would have gone into a lot more serious trouble than what his money's worth. Right? He made it quite clear, right, that withheld information gets you into a lot of shit of trouble. More shit of trouble than the money's worth, right? Now, let me explain this one to you where you get to a point. Right? You have to see it as a vital key to this. Right? We may be old horses to a point, but it isn't. Right? The old iron horses is what they call it. Right? We have to establish that. Right? But we're not. We are very intelligent people. But there are a lot of people that go into problems that didn't deserve to go into this and that. Right? What happened was, in the day, William T. Wrecker managed to make the right choice at the right time. Why? Why? If anybody has seen Star Trek Enterprise, the last episode, season 4, the last episode, where no one has gone before, right? It was showing you a bit of the episode from that Pegasus episode that wasn't shown then. So then you're looking at to say, look, he was making a decision because he part of Starfleet, like Starfleet, and a bit like that, and he acknowledged that he had to go work with the Enterprise crew, that the very first Enterprise crew, not NCC 1701, which is Captain Kirk's. We're going back to predate and after Stephen Cochrane's warp drive, nuclear, what you call it, missile. So in establishing the first contact with the Vulcans, so then you're ending up with one problem, right? That's when he made the decision to tell Captain Picard what was going on. Right, so then you go back to the Pegasus episode to get the final piece, right? Two pieces become whole. But in the day, on the North Norfolk Railway, they're not going to wake up and smell that damn coffee and realise, oh shit, right? They're not going to fix that problem overnight. You have to be realistic. And he's like, in the day, when Picard realised that when Wrecker told Picard the truth, what was going on, when they got trapped in the asteroid, then the truth revealed itself. Right? It's a similar, like I said, read between the lines to get the information because you're never going to get much from the book straight away off the television unless you rewind it, forward it, and then rewind it. Right? So they were there were a lot of loose ends from Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek the Discovery, Star Trek the original series. Then you got Star Trek The Next Generation, then DS9, then Voyager, then plus, and then all the rest at front, the Picard series as well. But it all adds up. But when you put it all together in your head, it's a one big fat timeline, right? But when I state this for the record, and I'm going to state this for the record for reasons, read between the lines before you jump off a cliff. I was talking to my mother in a very specific way this morning to make her understand. Wait before the Norfolk Railway realizes they screwed up. They're going to end up screwed up, and they're going to end up realizing they should have had me on the platform. Right? They will have a better chance to get out of situations, sticky situations, and all sorts. But you got to establish that when I mentioned to you that when Wrecker managed to finally tell Picard what was going on, right? Admiral Pressman, who was very bad admiral at the time, but he was trying to do the job he was set out to do, right? He was hiding that information from Picard. So was Wrecker, but Wrecker didn't want to take the fall. So what happened? When Picard realized what was Admiral Pressman's position was, he basically said there's a cloaking device in his possession. And Picard himself diplomatically didn't throw him off and send him to he sent him and the admiral to the brig, but when Wrecker joined him, he wasn't in the brig, was he? The admiral. So he must be in a different brig. But in the day, Picard went to Wrecker and said, I still keep you as my first officer because you owe me up to everything. And it wasn't your fault at the time because you were he was an ensign at the time, and then you basically growing up, right? On the Norfolk Railway, you're going to have that. That's a similar problem, right? They don't care, right? Right, right. The way they see it is like saying, right, it's a similar problem in every way, in every direction, and you're ending up with this, right? People are going to realise the Norfolk Railway screwed up, right? It's going to take them a little bit longer, but they will come and they will wake up, snap out of what they've got in their heads because their heads are full of that problem what was caused by the diesel team, and they don't even realise the steam team was right on the store line. Why? All they had to do is wait for me. Bang! Why? Because I was part of the steam team as well as being the fat man himself. Well, a lot of people thought that was a lot of problems in the air. I said, just what? Right? People already moaned about Daisy. Right? I already got that classified. Right? I said, whatever Daisy's doing at that time, or Daisy making the children upset, Daisy did this, Daisy did that, it's going to throw back on her because she did all the actions. I wasn't on the platform, so I'm innocent. Right? So we gathered that, but then Divas Diesel still did do the dirty work. So what happened when Daisy and Divas Diesel were all lined up playing like playing innocent one day and playing nasty the next? What happened? All the volunteers, all the employees left the building and said, We're not going to get treated like this. We're not going to get treated like that. And then they left the building bit by bit, right? They know it's not my fault, so you can clear my name on the premises. Ding! So, in the day, the North Norfolk Railways lost something what they should have kept on the line. Why? Because there's something bigger than their money's worth. They know that I'm important. They know that I'm special. They know that I've got to do this job. Right? But they got to wake up and smell that damn coffee. So when I mentioned about the Pegasus episode on Star Trek The Next Generation, does it make it ring a bell in your head and say, crud? So realizing that if everything went unfolded the correct way like it did, bang, what happens? You see, in the day you're gonna end up with a big problem. Right? A bigger problem than what the North Norfolk Railway's already bashed you at, right? They're gonna take on new employees and then say the same thing, don't let this guy on the platform, blah blah blah, and what will happen? People will get pissed off. Right? Excuse my French, but that's what will happen. Because they won't believe that because it's a lie. It's a deceit and a dishonesty. When people realised what was going on, or started to realise what was going on, the the you had the taxi drivers know about it. You have the everybody knowing about it. Everybody's getting aware of it. Self-aware is one thing, right? We all talk about another episode of mine that really clips it all together in place. And you have to be realistic about this. This is a real life event. You can't do nothing about it. You have to let it play out. Even my mother said that. Even Duck said that. Myself. We all letting it play out, right? But who got hurt in the end? The porters, the guards, and the staff all on the platform getting hurt by the management. You think you you think you deserve it? Do you think when you sit down and have that coffee, do you think they deserve the respect? No. Were they honest with you? No. Were they were they trustworthy? No. They were dishonest. So in the day they were trying to keep me out from doing the job I was set out to do. You can't change what is unfolding in front of you. No, 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 no. If you screw up something that was meant to unfold correctly, then the things you need the most will be gone. Why? Because you slipped up. You always have to do a big slip up, right? You got Divas Diesel, you had Daisy, then you got Divas Diesel's wife, and they all still in control. Even if Divas Diesel's not on the platform anymore, or Daisy, you still got one left, Joe Mudden. So what happens when she realised that she got screwed up? Why? Because she got caught, like the other two. It only takes three to knock out of three. So work it out. Three plus three equals six, right? You're taking three out. Bang. Why? A lot of people don't realise what is unfolding in front of you. You have to look at it from a logical point of view. You're not on a platform, but you know what's unfolding up there. I don't have a choice but to unfold it, right? It's like saying the Pegasus episode is giving you a prime example between being honest and being deceitful. Right? I'm giving you an open door on it because I needed you to open your eyes, your ears, and be honest and stop being deceitful to others, even myself. Right? You're asking yourself, right? To you and everybody else, right? I'm not just my mother's gift, but I'm a gift to the world. So look at that big globe of the world being protected by my family and myself. You can't do nothing more now, could you? Much more than what you can. But we are in charge of the railway lines and the roads. So work it out. Right, you noticed that a lot of things have been not the way you wanted to play out or wanting to play out correctly and you can't figure it out why and you got this big bubble in your hand saying to you the fat controller needs to be on the platform. Why? Let me put this in another way of perspective, right? When you see that, something in your head tells you there's something wrong that has to be corrected. I've been told by my private connection, who I will not name, told me in front of face to face contact, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to achieve. This is what you got to deal with. This is what you got to deal with because you're the firstborn and the last of your own kind. What would happen if I didn't get married or had Richard or Emily? What would happen? The world will be in turmoil. It will be self-destruct button right there on the button. Right? People know what needs to play out and how it's going to play out. But you have to realise you got that bubble, so does everybody else. Daisy and Divas Diesel and Joe Mudden broke theirs because they fucked it up. Right? They should be off the premises and out of the buildings, right? We're getting intel and information knowing these things ahead of schedule. So work it out. You got three of them being knocked out for obvious reasons, and then you're ending up with a fat man being innocent with his mother and Duck. Now and the rest of the steam team. What do you do then? Click click. You got a bubble in your hand, you know what's supposed to unfold, and you know the truth. Right? Let me give you another example on this, right? We have to be realistic on this. Right, the Pegasus is a prime example, an acknowledgement of it, because a lot of people think, why Pegasus? Why has the Pegasus episode got to deal with it? If you look at the way it's unfolded and the way it's saying from honesty, from dishonesty, dishonesty to honesty, and truth from false information, or truth and a lie, and a truth and this and truth and that, blah blah blah, going down the line, and then your bubble is actually telling you what to do. Right? That bubble is your life. Right? End of the day, you have to be realistic. You have to put yourself first before anyone else, right? The Norfolk Railway screwed themselves up a little bit because they weren't listening to me properly, or they don't understand what was unfolding, and they need to guide me face to face contact. They can't do it directly through the web or the Facebook or Twitter or internet all the time because they need face to face contact. They're going to be asking for that sooner or later and realize they're losing management because they haven't got the ability anymore. Why? Because the fat man's back in town. Myself, third gen, Stephen Topham Hatt at your service. You need to work out and smell that coffee, guys, because in the days, the past, the present is catching up with you, and the future has already been written. You can't change the future because it's been written already. So when you think about all of those things going through, think about it logically. I'm giving you. That's why the episode the Pegasus gives you a rough idea from honesty, dishonesty, hiding something that is truthful, and you've been like, yeah, well, excuse me, Ma, when somebody has been dishonest with you on the railway, then you should have classed that. I'm not following that order because I don't want to carry it. Right? It's like a lie, but you're carrying it, but you've been dishonest, you've been untrustworthy, is going through the chain of command through from her or him or whatever. Vice versa, it's passing the left way instead of the left way instead, and you're ending up with one problem, right? That's why I'm using Pegasus episode as a prime example of what Wrecker had to do to safeguard his career, his position, his rights, his respect, everything under the sun. Then Picard realised that once the cloaking device was used, he ended up saying, "That's why we're safeguarding you. That's why we had to do this." Right? What happens is the cloaking device was used, which it was, and then they broken the 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 treaty between the two races, the Romulans and the human beings. What happens? Bang! The treaty will be broken because you used the cloaking device on the Federation side. But I'm using it as a prime example, right? So in the day, it should never been used, but it was used in a difficult time. Now, if I said to you now, you need to stand up and help me out, don't be negative and say, "Oh, wait, we need to stop this, or we need to do this, or we need to do that." You need to start working around yourself and realize what is unfolding this truth in front of your eyes, and you're not acknowledging it. You basically got this big problem over your head and don't even realize that you've got to deal with these three people, and these three people are innocent, and all of that, and the rest of the steam team, we're all innocent, but those three weren't. Why? Davis Diesel, his wife, and Daisy were basically not the people you should be trusting. And you're ending up with that big problem because of that situation. So when I say to you that the Pegasus episode in Star Trek The Next Generation was very important, it was actually giving you some advice without me having to give it to you in full. But if you realise that now, where are you at? The North Norfolk Railway is slipping and it's falling apart, and then you got the fat man outside the building, and then you basically screwed him over a bit, screwed me over a bit, but you haven't. All you've done is delaying the article. So what do? We correct it before it goes haywire, because you're not going to succeed. You see, when things come to you, good things come to you, you're ending up spitting in their faces and get rid of them, right? What happened if you did the opposite? You would have had your problem solved, you would have had Daisy thrown out, you would have had Davis Diesel thrown out, and Joe Mudden all at once. Why? Because they were enemies to you. They're not friends, they're not the best connections or colleagues of yours. They're basically deceitful. So when they are deceitful on you, they don't like the truth coming out, do they? The truth that's setting you free, the truth that will get you out of things, truth that gets you out of everything. So work it out. So work it out forward. You're getting the truth. I've been honest with you. And what happens? Right? There's a big thing around this because it is a bigger key to this. Right? You're not going to be achieving things in life so easily. Right? People will make lame excuses just to try and wriggle back in, right? There are people like myself who are honest, truthful, and very upfront. I'm not giving you bullshit. I'm not being dishonest with you. I'm not doing anything like that. So you need to get your heads out of the cloud and realize his bubble will be my bubble is the strongest of them all. Why? Because the truth is in my head. My truth is everywhere. My truth is through my friends, connections, and colleagues. Why? And that includes my family and all. Why? We all are on standby because of waiting for the last moment when the North Norfolk Railway is going to cry wolf. Right when that crying wolf comes, they're gonna ask questions. I'll be talk about that in my next podcast. Crying wolf is the next one you're gonna be hearing.